In this chapter, we will examine the planning, delivery, and evaluation of inclusive teaching and learning. Turning to the first of these, the Inclusive Teaching and Learning Plan. Planning the session. Planning for a micro-teach session is important both in terms of passing the assessment, but also ensuring that the session goes smoothly. An important starting point is to select a topic of personal interest or in which the person delivering the session is knowledgeable. In order to maximize learner engagement, learners should be consulted as to their preference of topics for the microteach, or at least their learning styles, content preferences, and assessment activities. A lesson plan must normally be completed. There are 5 important sections to a lesson plan. 1. The aims and session objectives, and linking these to assessment objectives and strategies. 2. A crisp introduction that outlines the session objectives and what will be covered in the session. 3. Content delivery with teaching and learning activities, resources to be used, assessment strategies, and differentiation. 4. Closing the session with checks on the extent to which the session objectives have been met. And 5. Post-session evaluation of the extent to which the lesson plan was effective in practice. Identifying individual learning styles. It is useful to consult learners and ask them to complete a VARK questionnaire to identify their preferred learning styles. This can then form the content and style of delivery and assessments used. Ideally, a range of learning styles should be used, and there are likely to be some resource and time constraints which limit the extent to which the full range of learning styles can be used. It also depends on the nature of the subject covered in the microteach. For instance, learning to use a DSLR camera may require more visual and kinesthetic activity, while a session on history may have more visual and auditory elements. Both sessions could have some read and write activities during assessment of learning, for example, using multiple choice or short answer questions at the end to confirm what learning has taken place. Identifying prior knowledge and experience at the proposed microteach activity. Identifying learners' prior knowledge and experience of the proposed microteach session will be important for planning teaching, learning, assessment, and differentiation strategies. One of the aims of the microteach is to demonstrate that new learning is taking place. If, for instance, a microteach is delivered that introduces Spanish nouns and verbs to learners that are native Spanish speakers, there is likely to be very limited new learning taking place. A topic should be selected that provides opportunities for new learning to take place. If learner knowledge and experience of the topic is at different levels, it creates challenges, but also provides good opportunities for using differentiation, which requires a lot of planning and effective delivery. However, a good lesson is one that is differentiated effectively and takes account of all learner needs. Involving learners in the selection of the microteach topic. If the session is to be delivered to peers or colleagues who are also delivering a microteach, then the topic should be one that is of mutual interest, since this is likely to increase learner engagement. For instance, a session on cooking tips for a particular dish with a sample of the finished product that the learners can taste and comment on adds to an interesting experience, increased motivation and engagement, especially if the tasting is linked to an element of learning. For example, the impact on presentation and taste of adding saffron to rice or green chilies to a curry dish. The assessment can then be a combination of written and verbal assessments before and after tasting the dish. If some learners have dietary restrictions and these are not considered at the planning stage of the microteach and when preparing the dish, then learners will not fully engage or participate in the session. This could in turn adversely impact on the assessment and inclusive learning.